Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the Front Door Show brought to you by Four Fantastic Events. I'm your host, DJ Prieto, and today we have a special guest, a longtime friend of mine, Dr. Love, formerly at WGCI. How you doing, Dr. Love?
Hey, I'm glad you took care of the legal stuff first. That's right, formerly of WGCI. Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
So, I tell all my guests while you're talking, while you're going to introduce yourself, I set up it's live right now on our business page for Fantastic Events. Obviously, I'm grabbing the links for you and everything like that. But do yourself a favor, with the thousands and thousands of people that are watching right now, do me a favor and introduce yourself if you can.
Introduce myself. I tell you what, man. You scare me with the thousands of people thing, so I'm just gonna talk to you. Man, who am I? I am Dr. Love, formerly of WGCI. That's where you probably heard the Dr. Love thing first, but way before radio, man, I was doing nightclub promotion, concerts. I was a ticket scalper. I was doing all kinds of stuff. So I was very popular in the street. I used to hang out with a guy named Jammin' Dave Michaels, who was on the radio. And he used to take me around and introduce me to everybody in the industry. Then when I was doing a nightclub promotion, a buddy of mine named Keith Edwards used to do these voiceovers for a club. You probably remember the Comfort Zone. And he took me in the studio with him when he was doing a commercial. And I said, hey, man, let me try that out. And he played the commercial for other people. And that's how my voice was first put on the radio. And people will probably remember, the Comfort Zone, 215 West Chicago Avenue. Come to the Comfort Zone. And that's how my voice first got on. Then another friend of mine, Rick Party, was another name that you guys are probably familiar with. Rick Party and me were friends, and we were hanging out. And Rick said, man, you always give this great advice, man. He said, you should come on my show. And I came on his show, and a couple of people called in. I gave out some funny anecdotes and answers. And before you know it, people were calling up saying, hey, let me speak to that Love Doctor guy. And so we looked at each other and we said, there it is. And that's how the name Dr. Love came about. I didn't just give it to myself. But you know, here's something funny, Angelo. There are probably a lot of people that are watching now that are even personal friends of mine today who don't even know that I did radio. They know me from photography, or they know me from doing different things. And my philosophy in life has always been, those that know, those that don't know, they don't need to know. I mean, because I'm living in the now, I'm very happy, and I'm excited about my past, but I also feel very good about my future. Now, you know, now look at this here. These people know that I'm on doing this interview, and so they're calling my phone, man. And I'm so technically challenged, I don't even know how to mute this thing. So I don't know how to do this, man. Please text me. And here I am, so unprofessional. Give me how do you do this? How do you do this, man? I really don't. Oh, there we go. It worked out. It worked out good. When you get older, your memory goes, man. I couldn't remember anything. So I reached out to a guy I used to do radio with so I could get some dates. Okay. So here's some dates for you, just to kind of give you some background. I first debuted on radio with Rick Party in 1994.
Okay.
Rick and me did radio for a while. When Rick left, I was on with the Bad Boys.
And that was WGCI then at the time,
WGCI,
right?
all this is GCI that I'm talking about right now. I'll get it. I'll talk about syndication stuff later, but this is all Chicago. Rick left, and then I was on with the Bad Boys, who were also very popular in Chicago. And funny story, Bad Boys didn't want me on their show anymore. And you know, it's so funny, man, when you look back in time, things make more sense than they did at that time.
Absolutely.
It wasn't that they didn't want me on their show. They just wanted more of their own show. And I was, you know, it's a 4-hour show. I was taking up about an hour of their show with my bit. And so they made up their mind that, hey, if we had that hour on our show, we could do more things. But when they let me go, I was mad, man. So So I was on the weekends with Sam Silk. We were doing Saturdays. And I said, I'm gonna put all my energy into the Saturday show. And I had a lot of celebrity friends, man. So I had celebrity friends calling in all the time. Left Eye, Usher. I mean, I'm not name dropping. I'm just telling it like it is. Everybody pull those tapes, they'll know. And so Faith Evans was a good friend of mine. She was like my little sister back then. And so what I did was I built that show up on Saturday to hit hard. One day Sam comes in, he tells me he's leaving. And so now I'm like, what am I gonna do now? I got this Saturday show that's hot. What am I gonna do? So the station came to me with the idea, and I said, I like it. They brought on this kid named Marcus Chapman. And Marcus is a technical genius, a producing genius, and I would say a musical catalog savant. This guy can tell you the year any song was ever made. And so what he brought to the table was a professionalism. I was a court jester clown, just clown and acting a fool. He brought production to the show, and it made it really incredible. I think me and him, let's see, when were we on? I think me and him came on. Oh man, he has it written down. I still don't know what the heck it is. Him and I don't know, whatever the heck. We were on after Sam Silk, whatever year that was. And the reason why I ended up being on Sam Silk show is because Sam had a co-host named First Lady, who's also a very popular person in Chicagoland. Right. And she was going to be on the radio in New York with Isaac Hayes. And if anybody out there doesn't know who Isaac Hayes is, all you gotta do is think about Shaft and the theme song from Shaft. Exactly. That's right.
So I got a question, not to interrupt you, but you said you had a lot of celebrity friends. So let's go back. I mean, kind of back. Why did you have celebrity friends? What was that all about? I mean,
here's the crazy thing, man. I don't ever want to put my finger on it, because I think if I figure it out, I'll manipulate it. But for some reason, no, seriously, man, but for some reason, I call myself 50-50 man, because 50% of the people that meet me love me. 50% of people who meet me, hey man, what can you say? So those I don't deal with. But I've been really blessed that when I've been around people, it's something that they see in me or they like about me, that they want to be around me. Queen Latifah. I mean, I'm talking about just a list of people. And in my career, even, my career did not come from because I'm talented. My career came from other people seeing something in me that they liked. And it's funny, even right now, what I'm doing photography now, I'm really blessed, man. I am surrounded by some really talented people. I had to stop comparing myself to them because I'm pretty decent, but the people that I'm around are powerhouses, man. I'm involved with an organization called ClickCon, and the person who runs that has brought me in like family. So I'm part of like one of the largest photography conferences in Chicago. And nice. It's so funny because they don't know about my radio background. They just know me from photography. So the celebrity thing came from, I guess, just being a likable person. I mean, Mary J. Blige, man. Funny story. I've known Mary for years. And every time I see Mary, I would introduce myself, to the point where she said, will you please stop doing that? I know who you are. You don't have to introduce yourself to me every time you see me. But that's my personality though, man. My parents, they did a decent job. I'm very polite and I'm really respectful, and I appreciate everything, just like our friendship. That club, and I know we haven't got into it, but the Tropicana, you were the DJ there. And it's kind of the same thing. Think about it. I would come down there and hang out, and you would see me down there in the crowd, and you say, come over here, hang out with me up here. And then before you know it, I wasn't hanging out anymore. I was working in one of the hottest Latin clubs in the city of Chicago on the hottest night. How does that happen? How does that happen, man?
I think it's twofold, because you jumped. Okay, let's talk about that. I think you were somebody that I knew introduced me to you, that you were there and told me, oh, this is Dr. Love from WGCI, and I know I seen your face there a couple of times, and I think I invited you up there, and I think I've said a couple of things on the mic, and I think that was where it says, you want to talk on the mic? I think you want to say something?
Big mistake.
Well,
give me the mic.
Yeah, and you being a radio guy, and I was like, kind of just like, okay, well, here's a radio guy. I'm not a radio guy by no means. Am I? But then when I think the first time you did it's the light bulb went in my head, and I says, then I think the next day that was Ruben Pazmino and I, the owner of Tropicana. and we kind of like, hey man, this guy, I think he can add something different to the night. And I think, and all the aspects of it, he was a GCI, he knows a lot of celebrities. I mean, we could go on to all the accolades that you have, for us, because it's a win-win, kind of like that. And I think that's when Ruben approached you and asked you, hey, you want to jump on board? Maybe this is how we can do it and stuff like that. And then that was it. It was phenomenal.
Hey, and look what we did with that night. After a while, we had the Bulls coming down there, Randy Brown, Ron Harper, Elton Brand. We had Latrell Sprewell. Back then, there was an artist, John B., who was a pretty decent artist at the time. We had him there. That list of celebrities went crazy. Oh, Antoine Walker. He had just won. I think he went to Kentucky, and they had just won the championship. I hope I'm saying the right college, but they had just won the championship. And me and him had a mutual friend, and he brought him down and introduced me to him. And then I was friends with Antoine when he went to become a professional with the Celtics. Nick Anderson and I were friends. He introduced me to Shaquille O'Neal. So we have all these celebrities coming, but I'm going to remind you of one of the biggest nights we ever had there. This was a big night. And one night, and I was looking for that picture, man. I couldn't find it. If I find it later, I'll send it to you. Maybe you can upload it. But we had Forrest Whitaker, Usher Raymond, Rosario Dawson, and back then I was friends with a guy named Eddie Bo, who is a Chicago actor. He also works behind the scenes, and he brought all of them down, and we took that picture in the DJ booth. You talk about a memory, man. Oscar winner, a Grammy Award winning singer, beautiful actress. I mean, Rosario Dawson, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And that night was electrifying. I don't know if you I'm gonna get in trouble for this one. You remember the two security guards? They were brothers, and they were really big and muscular guys. And we used to have that arm wrestling contest.
Yes.
And, you remember that? And I talked one of the security guys into getting in the ring and arm wrestling with this guy. And we were in the DJ booth, and we have to paint the picture. Think of it like Game of Thrones, okay? There's this pit, okay? That's where the ring is, where the boxing was, because it was a boxing night. Yeah. And there's a balcony that goes around this pit. The DJ booth is in one corner of the balcony. So we can look down and we can see everything. They can look up and they can see us. So we're looking down, and in between the fights, Ruben always came up with different things. The best part was when he put the ring girls in and they would walk around with the signs. That was pretty much the highlight of my night. But
no. The best one was celebrity spotting for me when he came to you.
Hey, man, Mikasa. Hey, brother. Okay.
No, that was
my highlight. I'm just keeping it real. Why do you think I kept coming back, man? It was all about the ring girls. But in between, Ruben would come up with these little things to keep people entertained in between the boxing, and kill with this arm wrestling thing. And I will never forget this. I still, to this day, see that picture in my mind where they're arm wrestling, and one of the security guys, he's arm wrestling with the guy, and he bends the arm, and the arm snaps right there, and it's just dangling. And you probably remember, because I was squealing like a girl. Believe it.
Yeah, I mean,
every time that guy is one of the security guys. It's a picnic that I co-host, the Chosen Few DJs. They thought it's just, which we didn't have this year because of COVID-19, but I co-host this thing, and he's one of the security guys at that picnic. And every time I see him, I don't even have to say anything. I just look, and he knows what I'm thinking, because it's like burned in my brain, man. I'll never forget that image as long as I live.
I mean, I just remember we all did the like, ooh, we just did this ooh, because it never happened before, and it just and you see the snap that it did, and and I think what happened is that he broke his like his tibia bone or whatever. I'm not a doctor, but dude, he broke it, and it's
two bones in that arm. I'm telling you, both of them broke. I'm telling you.
Yeah. It was just like, And
Crazy.
it was you know, and how many times have you seen arm wrestling? You always see arm wrestling
Yeah,
on.
I've never saw. I still haven't seen that. I haven't
No,
seen that in
no.
any arm wrestling thing I've ever saw. That guy's arm. I mean, obviously he had a lot of heart, and he refused to lose. But his arm. Hey,
I just
hey, let's get off that. I don't want to think about that anymore.
no, but
Get
like
off
I
that.
said, my best is that used to make everybody laugh, and I used to be because I knew you joked about it, but you would say celebrity spotting, and I just
Oh
want to make sure
yeah.
I just want to make sure people understood what that meant because if you weren't there, it was the funniest thing.
Oh, I just remember what you're talking about now. Oh, that was terrible. Why you want to bring that up? That was pretty bad.
So there will be like, you know how you're walking down the street and you say, man, that guy looks familiar. That guy looks familiar. And because you knew so many celebrities,
Right.
you were like, oh, somebody looked like Prince. So you would say,
Which would be Ronnie. Ronnie looked like Prince.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
right. So
Yep.
you would say, oh, celebrity spotting. This is, and everybody knew exactly what you were talking about.
If you were part of the Tuesday night and you came there, but if you didn't, by the end of the night, you knew what it was about.
Yeah,
And
it was.
it was all, you know what, man? I always thought of the mic as a responsibility. I never, and my co-host at the time, Marcus Chapman, I know I've heard him talk about it before, that he learned that from me. Here's what I thought about, man. And I want you to think about this, DJ Prieto. A girl dresses up. She's going out with her friends, right? Now, let's just say all her friends are dimes, they're tens, and maybe she's a 4 or 5, but she has a personality that blows all of them away. And they say, come on, let's go out, girl. And she says, oh, I don't know. Okay, well, then they talk her into coming out. She's, not in the greatest shape. She doesn't dress the best. She comes to the club, and then the guy on the mic makes her feel like garbage. So she doesn't have a good time. She has this horrible memory for the rest of her life of the time she went out with her friends. I never wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be the guy that when she came out, she was going to get all the attention. We were going to make her feel special. We were going to send her the bottle of champagne. You know what I mean? And I felt like that microphone, I had the power to do that, to make somebody's night, to make somebody happy. And that's what I did when we were there on that night. That's what I've done my entire career. I just never want anybody to feel bad, and especially because of something that I've done. And I mean, I'm not perfect. I have messed up. I have said things, and if a person took it the wrong way, man, I'm the first one to go over there and say, hey, I'm sorry. I truly didn't mean for it to come out that way. I'm human and I make mistakes. But the priority for me when I have that microphone is that everybody in that room that's listening to me has a good time. And I have been honored, man. When I say honored, I stand on a stage with 50,000 people at that chosen few picnic. And when I come out there, I am representing Chicago. People are watching this thing all over the world. And I don't want to let down the people who entrusted me to step out there with that microphone and do the wrong thing. Wayne Williams is a guy that I grew up with. You probably know Wayne. Wayne worked for,
Wayne very well.
Yeah, well, some people may be watching, they don't know. He worked for the record label. And
Jive Records.
Jive Records at the time, right? But he's worked for a couple of labels. He's discovered a lot of artists, Selena, Johnson. I mean, the list just goes on. I'd be here all day talking about all the, Hula Mahone and Fingers, who produced Summertime for Will Smith, who produced, what else did they do? Boom Boom Shake the Room. And then Hula, who went on to do his own thing, Pass the Toilet Paper. Let me see you work that, beep, beep, beep. I don't know if it's a family show and we can say those words, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, Wayne has found a lot of talent. And that guy approached me one day and he didn't ask me, man. He said, you're gonna host a picnic. And for years, I hosted that picnic by myself. And when I would see celebrities, I would bring them out. And then there was a celebrity that would come, and she was the newscaster from Fox News. And I would bring her out on the stage, and our chemistry was great. And before you know it, Now I'm the opening act for her at the picnic, and that's just life in the big city. But when I tell you, man, when I step out on that stage and I stand in front of 50,000 people, understand, I mean, this is all they're doing. They built this thing up from when it was behind the museum and it was 100 people, but I was a part of it.
Well,
And
look,
that makes me feel really good. I mean, that there was life after the station. You know what? I don't think anybody ever even knows, because people always walk up to me and they say, "Why aren't you on the radio still?" And here's some education for you people. You ever notice when you're watching a television program and you really like this television program, and then next year it's not there anymore, and you're like, "Wait a minute, what happened to that program that I really like?" Well, there's a person who was in charge of programming, and this person has a vision. And the guy who was at the time the program director, Elroy, I was not part of his future vision. And so he came to me one day and he says, "I want to thank you for your service." And I looked and I said, "Man, I'm the hottest thing on the radio. This guy can walk up to me and say, 'Peace out.'" All right. There we go. "Peace out." Okay. And at that point then, I made a decision that everything I did going forward was going to be about me, that I wasn't going to make any more billionaires, more money, that I was going to do my thing.
Right.
I am blessed. I have a fantastic job. I'm not going to tell you where I work, because then you people will harass me, and that just won't happen. But I have a great job. And then I found another passion in photography. There are some people in this game in photography, 924, Manny Ortiz, Sam B. If you go on the YouTube and you look at these guys are phenomenal. These are my photography friends. Sherry Hagerman, Kim Ackerman. I mean, I could go down just a list. Dave, my buddy Dave Williams, who's always getting in magazines and stuff. David Sabat, which he told me to tell you hello. He's also a DJ.
Yes, Dave, yes, I did.
Yeah,
David.
let me tell you how. So what I had to start doing though, man, I had to stop comparing myself to these great photographers, and then just appreciate my own art and my own skill that I'm doing. And I'm so happy, man. But that's what happened. People always ask me, "Why aren't you on the radio?" I did some things though. I did do some syndication. I did some radio with Sam in Cleveland. I was on with First Lady for a while on I can't think of the name of the station, man. WBLS, I think it was, in New York. I was on B103 in Atlanta with Rick when he went down there. I'm missing some cities. Mike Evans in the Morning, Hot 97 in Memphis, Tennessee. So I've had a nice run as far as it goes radio. But after radio, think about it, man. I hosted concerts at the Country Club Hills Theater for years. I stand on that stage at the Chosen Few picnic, for whatever time they allow me to go out there. 50,000 people. I'm holding that microphone and I am the master of ceremony. That is an honor.
Well, let me, I don't know if you know the story about Wayne and I. He went to the Billboard conference. This is back in, I want to say it's 2001. And Wayne knows me. He doesn't know anybody there because I'm in the Latin aspect of it, but he comes up to me, he goes, and this is during the time when reggaeton was a big thing. And Wayne comes up to me, goes, "Introduce me to somebody, man. I really like this music and I really want to get into it." And the first person I introduced was Wisin Yandel, because I
Blue. Oh, it's back. Okay, go ahead.
So Wisin Yandel were the first guys, because I brought him here to Chicago. And I says, "Okay, you know what? Let me introduce you." And the reason why R. Kelly did the song with Wisin Yandel, "Burn It Up," was because of the meeting I set up with these guys, with Wayne. That was why they did it. Because, and honestly, Wayne gave me credit, and he's like, "Hey man, we're gonna work out a deal. Do you want to be part of it?" I go, "No, man. I introduce you guys to work the business together. I don't care, whatever you guys do. I'm just the middleman and saying meet. I don't want no money. I just wanted to be successful." And obviously the song was a huge success. They came to Soundbar, they filmed it in there, and it was great. And they invited me to the video shoot, and I'm like, "Nah, man, it's not." That's you know me. I like being behind the scene. I could care less. stuff like that. I think we all both know that our work is what makes us who we are, not by, you
But
know,
credit
like,
to you though, and I want you to think about this. And we're going to pat ourselves on the shoulder. I'm just going to do it. In the history of the club set in the city of Chicago, who do you think, besides us, mixed the African American community and the Latin community together like we did, as big as we did it? No one.
no. And
That
I learned
night
that,
was, man, come on. That
but
night they talked. Go
you
ahead.
know what? But in talking to Steve Silk Hurley that we're talking about, and I learned that from like my breakdancing days, because we were on this southeast side of Chicago with the lockers, and back in the days we were mixing Latins with African Americans. We were, you know, white, Asian. We were mixing everybody. It wasn't a, you know, for me, it's never been about the color or the race. It's always been about the
It's been about the music
camaraderie.
and
You
the
know?
music, man.
Yeah.
But that night they talked about that. That night was known in L.A., in New York, in Miami, and whenever anybody came to Chicago, they came to that night. And what I loved about it is when you first walk in, you're walking through this tunnel. It's this low ceiling, and then when you get to the room, it opens up into this gigantic room where you have the ring, and you have the music, and you have the tables around the ring. You have the stage with the VIP. Oh my goodness, it was ridiculous that night. And then remember, I hate to bring it up because I can't remember the name, but remember I was doing that local television show, and we came down there and we filmed because one of the ring girls was a Playmate centerfold.
Yes.
I can't remember her name. What was her name?
Maria.
Maria, yeah.
Yeah.
And our ring girls were known all around the city. Remember, as a matter of fact, did we have the ring girl competition?
Oh, I don't know. We had so many different competitions. It was crazy. You know, honestly, we had just a competition on top of competition.
I want to share something with you. A lot of people know, and I know you know, that I don't drink alcohol, which is amazing because I've worked in clubs, man, since I'm not going to date myself. I'm not going to tell you how long I've been working in clubs. I've been working in clubs a long time. Let's just stay with that. But I don't drink alcohol, and it was my birthday, and I was at the club, and Ruben, he buys us some shots of tequila. Now, if you don't know, in the Latin community, if you refuse a drink from someone, it's offensive. I did not want to offend him, so I said, "Hey, I'll have this one shot, and that'll be that." Man, it was downright disrespectful how I acted after that drink. I was a drunk. I'm talking about one shot. I was falling all over the place. It was terrible. Ronnie had to drive me home, and I actually the next day, man, he had to give me a replay of how I acted, man. So that's a good remedy of why I don't need to be drinking. But that might have been the only drink I've had in, man, 40. There I go dating myself. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna tell you how long. It's been a long time.
I want to share a picture with you. Here, I want you to look at this. Look at this. Here we go.
Okay.
Recognize these guys?
Oh man, Shawnee. But I know the other gentleman. I just don't remember his name. What's his name?
Oh God, I think it's
See,
Barry.
you don't remember either. But that's okay though.
No. I know who it is. God, what?
Not Brian, is it?
Brian. Yes, Brian. That's it. That's Brian.
I threw that out there. I didn't even know.
It's Brian. Brian Gaslow, something like that. That's Brian. Yes, that is Brian.
So those are the boxers. Well, there were two of the boxers. I mean, we had a bunch of boxers.
Yes.
What I liked about it, man, was really interesting about that night. And I think the reason why that night worked, DJ Prieto, is because anybody could get in that ring. So the guy, Brian, was also security.
Yes, he was. Exactly.
And,
yes.
And the reason why we didn't have any fights there is because we had a ring. And if you had a problem with somebody, you could get in the ring. And I love that. I love that anybody could challenge anybody. You just had to sign that waiver. And you could get in the ring. And it was just fascinating how that night was. We even had professional boxers come down. Do you remember this? What was the hockey player who came there and boxed that night? What was his name?
Chris Chelios.
Yes. And we
And
had
he didn't he didn't tell anybody his name. Remember?
right
He
because he
gave
would
a
have got in
name.
trouble. It was
No,
against his contract.
well, and he wanted to fight the our Frankie. You know, remember he wanted to
Yes,
fight the
champ.
Tasmanian
Yeah,
and it was until like I think the second. This is the true facts is that you know how Frankie plays with people. You know, Frankie, if you remember that he used to fight 3, 4, 5, 6
right.
guys. You know, so he would go, but he was boxing the first round, and he turned to Ruben. He goes, this guy is hitting,
Yes,
and he knows how to
yes,
hit. He
yes.
goes, something's up with this guy. He turned into a Ruben. Now remind you, I get the message because Frankie told me what happened. He goes, he goes, and of course Ruben's like, no, man, play with him, you know, let the round last, you know, because Frankie was a beast when it came to
Yes,
boxing, man. He never lost. He never
right,
lost.
right.
And I remember Frankie, second round goes on, and he tells Ruben, nah, Ruben, I'm telling you right now, this is somebody. He's a boxer. He knows this. He knows boxing. He's hitting me and it's hurting. And we're like we've never heard that from Frankie's mouth. What do you mean the guy's hurting you? He goes, no, the punches that he's doing. It's not like normal guys and stuff like that, or even boxers. You know, boxers. He goes, something's up with this. And I think we normally did 3 rounds. And I think we went up to 5 rounds with this guy, and the guy wouldn't quit. So all of a sudden, somebody gig up, and I remember Ruben comes up to me and goes, "Oh man, dude, I just found out that's Chris Chelios,"
Yes,
and we're like, "Oh my God!" So we're in a kind of a conundrum because of the fact that we can't let Frankie beat his ass either,
right.
because he was still a hockey
Celebrity,
player,
a hockey celebrity, man. He was
but
royalty.
at the same time, we don't want him to get hurt,
Right.
because and we're like,
And Frankie was the star of the show, so you don't want him to get hurt either and look bad. But I think what we did, we just ended it, man, and had those guys raise their hands up, you know.
but it went 8 rounds. If you remember, it went total of 8 rounds, completely 8 rounds, and we're like, oh my, and it went long. If you remember, it was like it was because I think Chris had honestly let 4 boxers go ahead of him, and then he went on. So normally, like the boxing finishes at 3 o'clock in the morning. I think Chris and him, that was 3:30 in the morning. It was like right at the time where then Abe had to kick everyone out because it was like, time's up. But it lasted really long. I mean, it was 8 rounds was a long time. And I just remember being too late. And I was like, oh my God, we got to be careful who we let box in this area because we don't want to.
I like the way he did it. You know, he didn't come in bragging about who he was. He saw Frankie in the ring. He wanted to box him, and he did it. And to me, he was a champ that night. I mean, think about it. No one still, few people knew, but no one really knew who he was that night, even when he got out the ring. But I thought that was really cool. We should have took a picture of that guy. What were we thinking? What were we thinking, man?
A lot of things we weren't thinking because the technology wasn't there back then.
Yeah.
We were just talking
Dude,
about
just
earlier
think
about
they had how to have the cell phones now. Oh
Yeah.
man, that night wouldn't have happened. There's no way that night would have kept going like that. Like I said, I love the beats. There was a fight where a guy, you could tell he just got out of prison. This dude was swole. He was peanut butter and working out. I'm telling him, trust me, man, peanut butter and lifting weights. And he got in the ring. What was the guy's name? Solis? Was it something Solis?
Oh, you're talking about is it Manny Solis?
I'm not gonna remember the first name, but I always remember that last name. And the first round, this guy is hitting him, bang, bang, bang. He's knocking them all around the ring. Then the second round comes and they hit the bell, and the guy was so tired he couldn't get up and fight anymore. That was hilarious. So Solis, being the good guy that he was, he went over, picked him up, and raised his hand in the air. And that was the thing about that night. Nobody ever got out of that ring upset. There was, I remember one scrimmage, and that didn't last very long, but it was not the only fighting that was happening that night was in the ring. That was a
Right.
magical night. I don't know. Did we even say the name? It was Club. It was Tropicana,
Decachet.
aka Club PM, right?
Well, yeah, that was, yeah, the name was changed afterwards. It was Tropicana de Cachet. And then we had changed the name because Ruben got out of there and he went and did Club O. If you remember, he was doing Club O or Oxygen. And then it was
Mm-mm.
called Sapphire. And then he moved to boxing over there. To
No, I didn't know
Sapphire.
that. I
Yeah,
didn't
he
know
moved,
that.
but it didn't last that long because it got really raunchy where he moved it. Because when we did it, it was really classy. I mean, it was
Yes.
really, you know,
Yes.
and how can you boxing be classy? But I think it was the clientele that we had. Well, it was classy. That's
Yes,
what I
it
mean.
was.
Whereas at Sapphire, it wasn't as classy. It was got and remember we had I think a 7-year run of this.
Yes.
So he did it 2 more years after that, and it got really like. And then there was fights, not just in the ring. There were fights out of the ring as well. And a bad element had came into the. But we were really, I mean, thank God, Ruben was really on top of it with the security and the people we let in. I mean, we knew the neighborhood who were the game bangers and stuff like that, but we wouldn't let those guys in. We knew who was who. But I remember that VIP section. There was, man, there was everybody was in that section, and it was it was kind of set up because you know who wasn't coming into the VIP section anyway because they
Right.
said these
Well,
weren't cheap tables either.
no, 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 no. But you just said something really funny. You talked about how you didn't let him in. I was part of an organization called Jackpot Productions, and we had the Sunday night set. I don't know if you remember. We had it at the Click. We had the Baja Beach Club. What's that club up there on Armitage? I can't remember the name of it, but it was that gigantic club. It was right on the corner, right around the corner from where you get off the exit at Armitage. I can't remember the name of it, but we let them all in. We let everybody in. It was on a Sunday night, and our clientele was mostly beauticians and barbers. And then they started inviting their clients, and it became this big night. But what we did, we were politicians, man, and we would talk with the leaders, and we would say, hey, look, all that stuff you're doing out there, in the world, why would you bring that here? Don't you want to have a place where you can come and just have fun and dance with ladies and get drinks? And one of my partners was Ray. He was like known all in the streets. Everybody knew Ray. Ed was the businessman. I was a radio talent, and I knew some celebrity friends. And that combination, people wanted to be there. That was another night that was also known out in LA and New York. And when they come to town,
They're saying it's convent. It was convent.
that was it. The convent. See,
Yeah.
that's what happens. See, when
Marcus,
you're old,
Marcus Chapman said it was convent, so that's why.
yeah, see, when you are old and this brain don't work anymore, you need young minds to tell you that stuff. So that's right. And that's something. Here it is, a place that I worked for years, and I can't think of the name of it. And this guy jumps on and says, "Oh yeah, it was a convent." But
Well, that
yeah.
was Sapphire. That's where Ruben took over after the convent. That's
Oh,
exactly what Sapphire became.
I see. I
Yeah.
see. Well, yeah, but we let them all in, man, and we had a good run also. And when I talk about the celebrities that came to that, we had Denzel Washington, man. We had remember the basketball? You probably don't remember Anthony Mason. He's this big
Yeah, I
dude.
know. Yes, I remember
Yeah.
Anthony.
And what's the guy from Chicago? Oh, I can't believe I can't. Hey, ask whoever that was. There's a guy from Chicago who I'm very Carl. Okay, he's on Bad Boy Records. He's out of Chicago. Carl, it's not Carl Washington. It's Carl something. Tell somebody on there to punch that in. What's the guy's
Marcus.
name?
He said he's on Bad Boy. He says, Marcus said he hosted it for a while when it became Oxygen in 2002. So let's see, Marcus.
But no, this guy. Okay, so this guy here, Carl. I can't think of his last name, which he'll kill me when he finds out. I'm telling you, man, this is how you lose friends when you get old.
Carl Thomas.
Thank you. God bless you. Okay, so Carl Thomas had just gotten signed to Bad Boy Records, and he came, and this is what we used to do, man. When you were, even before you made it big, even with R. Kelly, before he ever got a record deal, he would come down to the club. We would put them in the VIP, and when they made it big, they never forgot us. Carl Thomas had gotten his record deal. He came down to the club. We treated him like a VIP. Me and him became friends. When I tell you, Carl Thomas introduced me to Jennifer Lopez. And when I tell you, in person, on television, one of the most beautiful women I have ever seen in my life. Now, when I met her, she I'm not going to say that she wasn't friendly, but she wasn't the warmth that I was used to. And so I told her, I said, you don't understand. She said, what does I don't understand? I said, I'm your fan. She said, well, yeah, everybody's my fan. I said, no, I loved you in Selena. Selena Mills Dios. That's what she did. She started laughing, and that broke the ice, and then we were cool. But that doesn't happen. And I try to tell people, man, you are going to cross paths with people. And when they cross paths with you the second time, what's that crossing going to be like? Is it going to be a pleasant crossing, or is it going to be, yeah, I remember that person over there. I remember how they treated me when I was doing this and doing that.
Right.
You have to be right. You have to be right with people. You have to be right with yourself. And if you're going through a bad time, 6 degrees of separation, I tell you, man, what we don't talk about mental health. We don't talk about people getting help.
Ah, man, we can't talk about Kanye West then?
Well, we definitely talk about him, man. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just be straight up. And you know, there are people, I don't want to call them leeches, but there are people that are around people, and as long as they're getting a dollar, they don't care about what's happening with that person. They don't care about helping them. This guy obviously has had a nervous breakdown, and I'm not talking about recently. We've seen this happening a while ago, okay? And he definitely is not all there, and you can tell because he actually has an issue with the past, with slavery, because that seems to be the thing that he seems to always harp on. You know, he made a comment, remember years ago, about obviously they wanted to be slaves because who's going to be slaves for 400 years? Man, there's a thing called conditioning. I want you to think about this. When you go to the circus and you see these big, gigantic elephants, I mean, they're massive. They could knock everything down. And this guy comes and he has a piece of wood and a string and a hammer. He takes that hammer and he knocks that piece of wood in the ground, and that elephant stays there. He doesn't move. And you know why he doesn't move? It's not because he can't. It's because he's seen his mother, he's seen his father before him, and so on and so on. So he has been conditioned not to pull that stake out of the ground. So when you talk about slavery for hundreds of years, you're talking about hundreds of years of fear and oppression and people being afraid, which is why Juneteenth is such a big deal, because these people were free and didn't even know it, and they were still being treated as slaves until somebody came along and said, hey, you guys are free. So when I think about Kanye, he obviously has an issue with the past and slavery, because this last thing he said, man, come on. He said that Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves. All she did was take them to go and work for other white people. Well, first of all, if you're working, I mean, you're getting paid. So let's throw that out the window, okay? I mean
in that case, we're all slaves. We're all slaves.
We're all slaves. You know, hey,
exactly.
hey, I don't want to promote it, but hey, hey, been very good to me. But back on mental health, it is just my belief that that people need to find someone to talk to. You know, there are these narratives out there, and I think that it's just about communicating. You hear people say all the time, there are some good cops out there. No, there are a bunch of good cops. I would say most cops are good. It is the bad ones that are making the good ones look bad. And then some of that comes from training and the ability to deal with what they're dealing with. So I want you to think about this. Let's think, they use the word defund, and people think that defund means get rid of police. I never want to live in a world without police. I'm just gonna keep it real. You know, these locks on the doors are there for a reason. the defunding, if they could communicate it better, they shouldn't be saying defunding. They should be saying redirect some funds to give to people with the training to deal with people with mental illness. Because see, at the end of the day, what should be happening, if somebody is doing something wrong, they should be stopped doing the wrong thing and arrested. They should not die. No one should die because they didn't have the turn signal on, you know. And probably when they stop and they're talking to people, maybe someone is going through something. So maybe they're not responding as fast as you want them to respond. But maybe that could be them dealing with some mental issues. You know, maybe somebody just lost a job. You know, we think about like all the rioting and thing that was going on. I was one of those people going, man, look at those people looting. And I tell you, I'm surrounded by fantastic people. They said, did you actually look at the video? And she said, don't look at the one of the people downtown carrying TVs out of the, Macy's. Look at the one at the stores and look at what's happening. Think about the whole narrative that you have this COVID-19 going on. People aren't working. People are stuck in the house. And so now you got this man who's the head of his house. He's not making any income. His wife's not making any income. He's trying to figure out, how am I going to feed my kids? And now he hears that these people are over here at the, I'm not going to say names, I'm going to say grocery store, breaking in the grocery store. She said, look at the video. There are men coming out with diapers in their hand and juice and stuff to feed their family. And so what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to learn not to just judge. I'm trying to open up my mind and my eyes to see a bigger picture. It is rough. Right now, you have kids running around just doing all kind of craziness because they don't have jobs. Do you know anybody with a job doing that?
Well, and I think that's where the narrative has to figure out, because you're talking the difference between someone who's looting that's 50 years old and responsible for family, or a 15-year-old going into, they have a different.
Jordans, right? Yeah, I'm not talking about the ones who went to the Jordan store. I'm talking about the grocery store and the pharmacy and it is, and it's really bad. I live way out in the suburbs, man. It's a whole another world. Suburbs is, ain't no looting going on out here. That's not happening. They blocked the exit. You can't even get off the exit. You can't come out here and do none of that. But I went to visit my sister in the city, and I saw that I can't say the names. I'm not trying to advertise. They'll say the drugstore. Okay, it's gone. It's not coming back. The store where you can go in and only pay $1 for things, it's gone. It's not coming back. Other stores, they're not coming back. And some of these stores, man, they have to take some responsibility in the fact that they weren't insured. I don't know what that was about, but they're not coming back. And so now you're going to suffer, because now if you want that medicine, where are you going to go and get it now? Because you're surely not going to get it in your neighborhood.
Well, and also for those, let's say, an older lady, and we're talking about 75, 70 years, she can't go into the grocery store while they're looting. She goes there because that's where she got to refill her medication. So now it's gone. And and it's just sad, because it's a domino effect, that they can't do, now what they're stuck.
I just thought about something. I don't want us to lose our audience, man. We're getting too deep. Let's talk about some music. I just thought about that. Like, I don't want to leave. Say, hey, what's all this mental stuff they're talking about? I want to share something with you, because you had Steve Curley on, and I want to share a couple of stories with you. I used to go to a club back in the day called Sours. Now, the great debate is it called Sours or is it called Sawyers? That's like the big debate. I say Sours because that's how I was introduced to it. But in one night, man, I met some of the top DJs that would go on to become historic DJs. And
what year was this? What year was this?
See, man, I'm not good at that. I okay, let me take a shot at it. No, man. If I say the year, they don't know how old I am. You're crazy. Long time ago. Watch this. Long time ago. I went to this club called Sours, and a friend of mine that I grew up with on the block, when we were kids, she just, had little braids come out the side of her head. But now she's like this beautiful girl that everybody wants to be around. So she takes me, I go to this club. She tells us to come, you know, the guys in the neighborhood. So we go to the club. And in one night, man, are you ready for this? These are the people that she introduced me to, okay? In one night, she introduced me to Steve Sir Curly. She introduced me to Jesse Saunders. And she introduced me to Furley Jack Master Funk. First of all, it was a big deal for me just to meet a black dude named Furley. I had never heard of that before. Okay, like Furley. And the funny thing about our meeting is when she introduced me to him, you know, I'm talking to him, man, and I'm saying, hey, man, that thing you did on the turntables is incredible. The way you're able to blend those records together and make one sound, you know, the quality of what you do. I said, man, that was just incredible. He looks at her and he says, does he really talk like that? She hit him, thank goodness. But that was my introduction to that scene. I knew Wayne from high school and Kirk Townsend because he threw the parties at Mendel. That was the first time you ever heard of a bi-level party. But those guys I met all in one night at Sowers. At that same party, there's this girl dancing and everybody's watching this girl dance. I've never seen anything like this in my life, man. Because she wasn't doing anything spectacular. She just kind of moving. You know, no great moves, no twirls, no spins. And I say, what's up with that? And then someone goes, oh, that's Tony Shelton. And I'm like, okay, who is that? Oh, you know, she passes out the pluggers and she comes up with the dances. Then there was another guy there named Hans. And they were watching him dance. I'm like, what's up with this? What's going on? Because I mean, you know, I wasn't seeing these spectacular moves. They just dancing. And they said, he's from Haiti. I was like, oh my goodness. So the reason why I'm saying that is the thing I love about house music, it has never ever been about a record. It has never been about a song. It is about a culture. It is about a group of young people who decided to get together and play dance music and dance to that music. That is what house music is. And that is why Chicago claims it, because we gave it the name. You know, you had Frankie at the, I know I'm going to get this wrong. I don't know if it was a warehouse.
Is that right? It is the warehouse.
Okay, warehouse. So, you know, and then you had people talking about jacking it. And what was jacking it? Jacking it was when you just work your body really hard. Jack your body. And that's why Steve got away with putting that song together. Jack your body, jack your body. And so you think about these music like Jesse's song, to me, is a true story. When he says those pretty girls will funk you up, Jesse was a terror. Just keep it real, okay?
Well, that's what me and Steve was talking about, because we're talking about, and the argument is who made house first. And I said, you know, the culture of house was there before the genre. You know, yes. that's and people don't understand that 1979, 1980, when you were at Sowers, that was when they were that was the year. But 1980, 81 is when you were there. Okay?
About, but I hear you talking.
Yes.
Long time ago.
So that was when, and that's what it was. It was these innovative basement DJs. And let's be honest, they were basement DJs. Yes. Were creating music in their basement and playing it, you know, and it wasn't just on the turntables, because even Steve said he had a 4-track. They were any way to get the music played. So they weren't just using turntables, they were using reel-to-reels, and they were using cassettes, and they were using, 8-tracks or whatever they were using just to play the music, because we did, as basement DJs, we recorded whatever was available to us right there, and especially if we're making music. And trust me, I know, because I had my little Juno 101 and I had my 808 beatbox, and you're creating the music. So how you were going to record it? Okay, let me put it on a 8-track, a 4-track. Okay, here we go. And how are you going to get people to hear that? Well, you know what? I got to plug in my 4-track into my mixer, and boom, and here you're playing it. And people were like, oh, this is hot music, and they're dancing. And that was house music. That's what the culture of it was.
Yes.
Because exactly that, you see, and the thing is that, and just like what you said, you seen this girl and you seen this guy. That was normal when it came
Yes.
to this music because people, it like hypnotized them. And it was like,
But do you know what the plus was? Let's say you were shy and you were afraid to walk up to somebody and ask them to dance. You don't have to. People were dancing with speakers. Heck, Sowers had those two palm trees in the middle. People dancing with palm trees. And that's what was good about it. It was, you would be a person, a girl would be dancing by herself all night long. I'm talking just stunningly beautiful. And no one bothered her. No one walked up to her. No one messed with her. That culture, probably most incredible. I always say, and I said it at the Chosen Few picnic many times. That song, "A DJ Saved My Life," I feel like house music saved our entire generation. Because think about what these kids are dealing with now. You know, with the shooting and the this and that. We had none of that. I'm telling you, house music. Where was it at? It was in the Latin community. It was me and Jesse Saunders. It was in the Latin community. It's in the Black community. It's in the white community. It's in the Asian community. One thing about house music, it transcends all races and all generations. And how about you could be playing house music and your grandmother would come out and dance to that music. You think the stuff they doing now, you know, grandma's gonna come out, man, please. No, house music, it's an incredible thing. It saved a generation. We continue to enjoy it. And what I like is when I go to functions and people bring their kids, and now their kids are growing up on house music. Are you kidding? I'm not mistaken. I think Alan King's daughter is DJing.
right,
So, you know,
well,
where does that come from?
well,
that.
perfect example. My daughter, who is 31 years old now, she that's all she wants to listen to is house music because she grew
Yeah.
up with what I was listening to, and she's like, you know, and my daughter with her girlfriends, they're the ones that are like, what are you listening to? What is it that you're listening to?
Yes.
Oh man, this is real music. This is not the top 40 stuff that you're listening to now. This is the real music, and
Yes.
she has to school them. You know, and they go, oh, that's old school. Yeah, no, it's the real school. That's what
Real school. Yeah, you hit it on the head. Man, you know what I like about house music is that if we say it's house, then it's house. You know what I mean? I don't care what genre or old, whatever. Stevie Wonder, okay? That's house. Diana Ross, you know, is there a cure for this? Come on, that's house. Donna Summers, of course, playing the disco. All her stuff is house. But what I like is I don't care what the song is. There's a song. There's also one of the Chosen Few DJs is a guy named Andre Hatchett, and I had never heard this song before. But once he played it, and then they bought the artist to perform, I'm always singing it in my head now, and it ain't no big thing that you're leaving. Think about that. Think about that in relationships. You know, where you're in a relationship. And now this person says, I'm gone. And you say, hey, it ain't no big thing that you're leaving because you're going to go on with your life. You're going to keep on moving. What for the women? I'm surprised to see your suitcase at the door. Remember the good times. Don't you want some more? Come on. That's house music. House music is stories. It's culture. You know, I coined the phrase. What is it? This is what happens when you get old. They went way out in the farmland and they had a concert and it was called Woodstock. And I said that house music, when you're out and it's a whole bunch of people, you know, like thousands of people partying, listening to house music, it is the Woodstock of house music. That was my phrase that I coined. And when I hear people say it, I go, wow. And I did that on the stage at the Chosen Few picnic.
Right. Well, they used to call it rays back in the days. That was the other name they used to call it rays because
so many names.
So I know that was you know, and that was, you know, when I was talking to Steve, because Steve and I known each other from back in the days when I was DJing, you know, and it ironically me and Steve are about the same age, and we kind of have a similar almost duplicate exactly what happened. Played basketball. I was a breakdancer.
I forgot about that. That's right. He does. He loves basketball.
Yeah, he loves basketball. I played basketball.
All those DJs. Wayne Williams. He loves basketball. All those DJs, man, living out their fantasies on the court.
Yep, man. And trust me, we were good basketball players on the. We were street ball players, man. We were good. You know, I used to run five parks. That was how good I was. I used to run 5 parks with me and my two other guys that he was staying around with, and we were nothing big or anything. We weren't tall or anything like that. We were just really accurate.
Just
Boom,
hitting that
boom,
rock.
boom.
That's right.
Yeah, that's where we were there.
If you
But
look at
that's
the
what we
NBA,
did.
yeah, if you look at the NBA, you can tell the players from Chicago because they take it to the hole. Because in the wintertime, you can't shoot that ball. Your hands are too cold.
Nope.
So you have to take it to the hole. So when you see a Derrick Rose or you see a Isaiah Thomas or, you know, any of the guys who grew up here, take that ball to the hole.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's what I said. When Steve and I were talking about it, how we all, you know, we became innovative when it came to creating music in the club, in the basement, and then putting it in the club. And then it became infectious. And the music became infectious. But one of the things that, you know, I think what had happened, because you being on radio and directly to you, when you were on radio, I think you were at, let me guess, let me try to figure out the year that you were on radio. It
No,
was
it doesn't matter.
90,
Don't worry about it.
but 96 it was like 94 to almost like 2001. Was that correct?
Oh, you're
Is
good.
that about right?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what though? Even recently, like just a couple of years ago, I would still be on in Cleveland with my buddy Sam still.
Well, I'm talking about specifically Chicago. That's what that was just
Chicago.
that.
Yeah, Chicago.
Dr. Love, Chicago, and you
Right.
had your program and stuff.
hmm
And the basis of it was honestly, you would give advice to
Yes.
trouble people, whatever, you know, you were basically the Dr. Phil before there was Dr. Phil.
Hey,
Is
Dr.
that-
Phil ain't cool like me, so you know, bump that.
But what I'm saying from back, Dr. Phil wasn't even a thought of
Exactly.
back then.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But-
Yep. My show was called Love Advice in the Worst Way. And what the antidote was is that I would give a funny answer to the problem. But again, remember, like I said, I respect the microphone. So even when I had that mic open on the radio and I would talk to these women, man, my message to them is respect yourself, love yourself, and know that you deserve more if you're not getting it. And when I talk about that, I'm not talking about gold digging and, you know, I'm talking about a good man. If you're with somebody and you're not inspired by being with that, there's nothing that they're doing that's inspiring you to stay with them, don't do it. I mean, life is just really, really, really too short. Find you some happiness. And if it's not with a man, find you some happiness with yourself. I mean, travel, see the world, do things. I mean, this picture that I have in my background, this is on the island of Curacao. And it's part of the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. And the people on this island, man, they are just the nicest, friendliest people, and they don't have much. You know, they treat each other with respect, and they just love each other. And my biggest issue with Chicago crime is that a lot of these people, they're in this neighborhood, and they're doing this crime because they don't know that there is life outside of what they're doing. And if they could see that there's a bigger world out there, you know, there is no crime. If Chicago really cared about these neighborhoods and started investing in these neighborhoods, not only is there no crime, there's more money being made because now you're generating more revenue, more things are happening. Man, speaking of, I sent you a picture. I did a photo shoot on that island. You gotta put that up so they can see how happy these people are on this island.
Which picture was that? What was
With the person with the flag kind of outfit on.
Okay. Let's see,
On
that's,
the dock.
Yep. That would be.
Bam! Don't she look happy?
Well, I'm happy now.
Bam! Doesn't she look happy? That is one happy island, I'm here to tell you. Bam! I salute the flag. Clowning. But yeah, man, when I think about the violence in this town, it could be eradicated. It really could if these neighborhoods had investment. All you have to do is invest. Woo! Happy people. So on the show, what I talked about was women empowering themselves. I talked about men being appreciated if you are a hardworking man, because what happens is when they're looking at television, they're looking at people with $200,000 and $300,000 cars. That's not a real world. You know what I mean? The real world is the person who works hard, who has a roof over their head, who feeds their family. Those are the heroes. Those are the people who do it every day. And I would talk to these women. They would call in. Some of them were single mothers, and I would tell them, don't just date for yourself. Date for your family. Think about who you're bringing into your kids' life. Is this somebody that they can look up to? Somebody they can learn from? Man, I saw an interview with Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx talked about his stepfather, okay, and how he taught him how to throw a football. And Jamie was, I guess, a quarterback in high school who threw over 1,000 yards in high school. Think about what impact that guy had on Jamie Foxx. Think about Shaquille O'Neal and his mom, and how she brought this military man into the family, and he taught Shaquille discipline. To this day, if you ever hear Shaquille O'Neal talk about a father, he never talks about his biological father. They're just now starting to get acquainted. But he talks about his stepfather and the man that he made. And I just say to women out there, man, it is so many good guys. And if you keep looking past them at the flashy lights and the shiny stuff, you're really missing out on something really good. And that's what I did on that show.
I guess the question is, I guess, and maybe nobody's ever asked you this before, but how did you, I mean, did you go to school for psychology? Did you, did you go for, I'm just asking how this, came to be, like, giving advice. I mean, was it something that happened because you had too many friends around you with depressing stories?
Man, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if it was Sylvester. I know somebody did it before, Lady Gaga, and they made the song "I Was Born This Way." I really believe that even when it comes to gay people, I just really don't believe that anybody is choosing to be anything. I think that we are all born to be a certain way, our lifestyles and how we think and how we feel. Now, I think that some of that is cultivated by the foundation that's around us. I was truly, truly blessed, man. I had a really good upbringing. I had a strong father and a stronger mother, and my father instilled in me the work ethic. If you can get up, you can go to work. You just did not play that. My father didn't let me mop a floor with a mop. I had to get down on that ground with the scrub brush and the towel. And so when I was very, very young, man, I just love women. When I say love, I'm talking about love women. I'm talking about like 3, 4, 5 years old. And so what I did was I listened to them at a very young age. If teenagers were talking, I would listen. If grown women were talking, I would always listen to them talk about what they want and what they need. And my father provided me with the structure of being a strong man and being a good man. So I think a lot of it came from listening and wanting to be the best that I could be. And so when I listen to them and I hear what they don't have, I say to myself, hey, you can have it. It is really not that hard. I have the most incredible friends who are so supportive. Like I say, my career, my job, my life. When people say I did this on my own, I can never say that because I'm always surrounded by good people. And when people talk about, man, you are who you surround yourself is, they're right. You got to surround yourself with winners. And so I had winners around me and still do to my entire life. And when you listen to them, when you talk to people, you keep that stuff. So when somebody else is asking you some advice about something, you have this warehouse of knowledge. I'll give you an example. People think that you can only get advice from people that have a lot of money or are successful. That's not true. Man, I'll share something with you. I was on a date with a young lady. I'm just gonna keep it real. I was on a date with a young lady, and we were going to a restaurant, and with some homeless guys outside, and I parked the car, and they say, "What's up, Dr. Love?" I say, "What's up, fellas?" And they say, "Hey, man, you want me to wash the car for you while you're in the restaurant?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." Then we went someplace else, and with some other homeless guys, and they're like, "What's up, Dr. Love?" And I said, "What's up, fellas?" And then, I had to make a stop at the club, and I talked to a couple of them outside, and they say, "Hey, are you gonna need us to do anything for you later on tonight?" I said, "Yep, the guys will get with you." And I'm gonna kind of tie this all together in a second for you. So the date is going well, we're hanging out, and she says, "Is it okay if I ask you something personal?" And I say, "Sure." She said, "I just want to know, how do you know all these homeless people? Were you homeless at one time?" And so I said, "No, I've never been homeless." And she said, "Well, how do all these homeless people know you?" And I said, "Well, here's the deal. I put them to work. I give them purpose. Remember what we do. I was a nightclub promoter, okay? And so what I would do is I would give them a stack of flyers to put on people's cars, to hand out to people as they were walking out. And sometimes I would just give them money, because I think back then, I don't know what it is now, but wherever it was they were going, it was only a couple of dollars for a room. I don't know where they were going. It wasn't much, like $10, $15 or something like that to get a room for the night, to get them off the street. And I've always been that person. I remember seeing something many, many years ago about somebody who was homeless, and one time they had a great life and things fell apart, and now they're on the street. And now what we do is we just walk past these people like they don't exist, like they're statues or furniture or something. We walk right by them. And I said, I will never be that person. And so when I see them, I walk by and I at least can say hi. I don't have to hold a conversation with them, but I can give them some pride as a human being that they exist.
Right.
So I got off track there. You really took me back on that one, man. I appreciate that. I hadn't thought about that in a while. But it comes from having winning people around you, listening, and then being able to talk to people. I mean, I have so many female friends. It's ridiculous, man. And
Well, I mean, because when you did it, I guess you hit a chord in the city of Chicago that your name was a household name. I mean, anybody that knew Dr. Love, you knew Dr. Love, WGCI. That was kind of the synonymous, because people just knew the name, name.
Yeah.
And when I was introduced to you, I knew exactly who the name was. I didn't know who you were. I knew the name, the persona of the name. And then obviously when, you didn't give advice over at Tropicana.
Don't get hit. Put your guard up.
But then after Tropicana, we stayed friends for a very we always kept in contact, and I think that was and not just me, but a lot of people that worked at Tropicana you were still friends with. I mean, you still communicate with Abe, Maria, and we can go on and on to a bunch of people that are that are out there, and it's just and I think a lot of people that are on my friends list. You say you don't do much of Facebook, but you do more Instagram, or you do more, and I think that's where we all kind of, I guess, our comfort level, whatever we think works better, as far as getting the message across, Instagram for you. And I think because of the photography, that's where you get the most, because that's where, I guess that's where I'm going to ask you next is what was the transition, or what made you transition from doing what you were doing, radio, into photography? How did that become?
Okay, now I want you to hold that, because my mind will wonder, because I'm about to say something else. Facebook is crack. Let's just keep it real. That's why I can't get on Facebook. Once you get on Facebook, you're on there forever. You are responding to people. You are following this. Oh, I got to say happy birthday to so-and-so. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't like so-and-so's thing that they post. No, Facebook is crack. It is crack. So I had to get off there because you get on there and you're on there for hours, you're not getting anything done. Reason why I like Instagram is because you post a picture and you're gone about your business. And you come back later and somebody might say, hey, that was a really nice picture. I really enjoy what you did there. And also, it helped me to meet other people in the industry who do photography. It introduced me to seminars and what we call them, meetups and things like that, where me and other photographers and models and stuff get together. But no, I can't do Facebook, man, because you know I don't like addiction. I don't like crack, so I stay away from Facebook.
But
But
again, and then you said that you're doing, you know, you're on this click.
yeah,
click.
yeah. This particular lady, her name is Sherry. We would go to a seminar in St. Louis, a very popular seminar. One of the first ones I went to that really, okay, think about this. Think about a, let's say about 500 beautiful models. And normally you're asking a model, can I take your picture? And then it turns into now these models going, will you take my picture? That's what it was like when I went to the seminar. And so this lady Sherry had the dream of bringing that to Chicago because we didn't have anything in Chicago like that. And last year it was at the, no, I'm gonna get this wrong. I don't know if it's the Hilton. I think it's the Hilton. I think I'm right. The Hilton, that's the big wide red building, right? Right across the street from Grand Park, yeah, the Hilton. And she brought in all of these speakers, professional photographers that are well known in the industry, man. And I volunteered for that. It was a suggestion of my buddy Dave Sabat and his friend Anna and Alex. They said, you know what, you should volunteer. And it's a funny story, man. I had met Sherry at this, what's it called where you dress up? Funk something, what's it called? They wear these weird things like metal stuff. It's called funk something. This is what happens when you get old, everybody. You don't remember anything. But anyway, Sputnik or something, I can't think of anyway. Punk something, I don't know. But anyway, she did this seminar at this photography place, and I met her. And that's when she first was talking about putting together this conference. So when I volunteered and I met her at the conference, I told her when I met her, I said, I'm going to be the best volunteer you ever had in your life. And I'm sure she thought I was joking. But by the end, I was one of the most popular guys there because I am a people person. I really like people. And so this year it got canceled because of the COVID. So she has all these other things going on. Matter of fact, she made some big announcement today. I missed it because I was preparing for you. So I'm sure she'll call me later and she'll tell me about it. But if you are a photographer, if you want to shoot beautiful models, if you want to be part of something big in photography going on in Chicago, networking, again, building your portfolio, you need to be part of ClickCon Nation, and you need to come to the seminar next year. I think it's at the Palmer House, if I'm not mistaken, next year. And here's the thing that okay, here's a funny thing, man. Again, none of them know about my radio background. But none of them questioned me when I introduced myself and they said, what's your name? I said, I'm Dr. Love. They just said, okay, hey, Dr. Love. But I'm sure now the word will get out because people will be talking, oh, that photographer guy, that's really the guy that used to be on the radio. Yeah, that's him. Because I actually like being anonymous. I actually like it, man. The popularity, that thing got so big, man. I couldn't go anywhere and I couldn't do anything. And sometimes when people don't understand this, when you're popular, sometimes you hurt people without even knowing that you're hurting them. I have a childhood friend, man. Our birthday's on the same day. We were born the same year, the whole thing, right? Common, what's the girl sings Mary Jane, Fire and Desire? Help me, man. Help me.
You're talking about Rick James'
What's the girl?
girlfriend. Yeah.
No,
Tina Marie.
Tina Marie, right. Okay, so check it out. It's Common, Tina Marie, and Michelle Indigo Acello. They were performing, what's that club down the street from Tropicana where they had the concerts?
Oh, the Congress.
The Congress, right. Okay. So they're performing there. And Mary, you know Barry Datcher, don't you?
Yes,
Mary
I know,
Datcher.
Mary. Yep, yep.
Okay, yeah. What's it? The Bronzeville magazine. I think that's what. Yeah, Bronzeville magazine used to be with the Chicago Defender.
Mhm.
Mary always took care of me because I always helped Mary promote her events, whatever she had going on. So I arrived to this concert, man. Right? Mary grabs me to walk me in. It's a line of people lined up to come in to go to the concert. My buddy Tony is in the line. He goes, "Hey," calls me by my government name, by the way, which wasn't cool. That's a joke though. And I turn over and I look and I go, "Hey man, how you doing?" And she walks me in. A year later, I bump into him and he tells me how mad he is at me. And I'm like, I don't remember me and this guy having a problem. He says to me, and you've had this happen to you, DJ Prieto. He says,
Mhm.
"Why did you leave me in that line? Why didn't you grab me and take me in with you when they were walking you in?" And I said, "See, from where you're standing, all you see is I didn't take you in there. But you have to understand where I'm standing. You're not the only person that I knew in that line. So when I take you in, what about all the other people that I'm friends with that are standing in line? They're going to say to me now, why did you take him in and didn't take us in?" I said, and also remind you, I'm a guest. This isn't my concert. I'm not running this.
Right.
So I'm an invited guest. Now I'm going to tell her, I'm not going in and let you let my buddy in. My buddy's got to come too. Guess what? I would be in that line with you. And I don't want to be in that line with you. So you just got to be mad. No, but it's just, you these things happen. You don't even know it, man. You don't even know what's happening because of that popularity. If somebody hears you went and you did something, why didn't you tell me about it?
Oh no, trust. I mean, especially, and just not to put a sour note on this, but my mom passed away in November, and
And
I,
I've been there.
and so many people and people you grew up with it, but this is a devastating situation that happened to
Yes.
me, right? So I'm
Yes.
not thinking of everybody I know, and then one of my friends like literally found out. We talked sporadically, but I had told him my mom had passed in November, and he's like, "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you call me? I should have been like one of the first ones you called me," and stuff like that. It's like, at the moment, you're not thinking of, you know, Joe, Tom, Larry, Maria, you're not thinking of everybody at that moment. You're thinking of the very intimate family, and it's devastating. So you don't have that wherewithal of calling who you're calling and stuff like, and I posted on Facebook at that my mom had passed and stuff. So there were people that reached out to me and people that, I mean, thank God, a lot of my personal friends, came to help me. They didn't know my mom, but they came because of me. They came to comfort me it was at the same time, you're not trying to offend anybody
Exactly.
but it's just because we know so many people. It really is, it's 6 degrees from separation, and that,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and we have that, especially because you have the namesake, Dr. Love, DJ Prieto. We have that
Yes.
namesake. So we run into and I'll be the first one to apologize to everyone who I don't mention, because there's too many. I mean, it's just too many. We are extroverts. we
Yes.
we are out there, and we are blah 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 to everybody. We are we our drug is the connection we have. That's our drug. The connection we have to all our friends. We want to stay connected with all these friends, and we create friends on top of friends on top of friends, and it's great. We love it, and we want more, obviously.
Yes.
So I mean,
You
that's
have something to write with. You have something to write with. I want you to write something because my mind, man, is going to drift, and I want you to write these two things down real quick.
Go ahead.
Write down clubs.
Okay.
And write down parents past. So that way,
Okay.
if I get all off, you can bring me back to where I need to be. Okay.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
I'm going to start out with the parents because you and I are in the same thing, man. I lost my mother, 2 years ago. I lost my father a couple of years prior to that. when you do not have parents anymore. I cannot even begin. Okay, you have friends, and they're great to have, but your friends got their own things going on. Think about your mom and your dad. They are always there. They're always a phone call away when you just want to bare your soul or whatever the case may be. So now these holidays come up, man. It's Christmas and Thanksgiving. And this goes back to what I was telling them earlier about the mental thing. Man, if you have a friend or a family member and you know that their life has taken this devastating change, man, pick that phone up. I mean, you know what I mean? On those holidays when you know they're suffering, that's the parents' part of it. Sherry, the lady I was telling you about, these people don't even know the effect that they have on you because we don't tell them. She had a Christmas party and she invited me to her home for the Christmas party. She has no idea what I would have been doing had I not gone to that Christmas party. I would have been sitting around. I would have been thinking about my mom's not here, my father's not here. Now, some would say, well, you got family. Okay, I have sisters. They have their own lives. One has family, kids. Yeah, could I go over there? Yeah, I don't want them babysitting me though. You know what I mean? I want to kind of have my own life. And so Sherry had this Christmas party where she invited all of these photographers, and I'm able for a moment not to think about that empty space that I now have. And it is a club. It is a club that a lot of our friends are in. And when they join the club, I feel for them because that pain never goes away. You manage it better, but it never, ever goes away. So I'm sure I probably reached out to you and I don't even remember but I'm very sorry to hear about your mom also.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now,
Same to you as well. But
yeah,
I mean,
now,
but I guess, we, my dad is still alive, but for I think every man, when their mother passes, that is something that that hits really, really, really close.
yeah,
And we feel that, and and there was a couple other DJs that they lost their moms recently, and and with this COVID thing happening, and
Shoot,
it's
man,
I mean, and then I've told personal friends of mine, my mom passed away in November, but I says, you know what? If I'm retrospect, I'm glad she wasn't here for this COVID thing. I really am
exactly.
so glad she wasn't here for that, because
Yes,
it would be
yes,
devastating for me to see her going through suffering and stuff like that.
yes,
So and she died in her sleep. So I was very happy that she, peacefully, she's, talking to everybody. She literally fell asleep and she didn't wake up. So
mm,
if there was any comfort in that, that's how I knew that she didn't have any of
she
this,
didn't suffer, right?
not at all. And not dealing with this COVID thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And hearing the stories about people, what their problems are going through. How are you dealing with the photography aspect of it as far as the COVID? How does that?
Okay, so first get ready to laugh. March, April, man, I didn't go out, period, man. Everything,
Okay.
I'm just keeping it real, man. Everything is ordered. Man, I I know my FedEx girl. I didn't even know that they had a route. I thought that it changes every once in a while. I actually know my Federal Express lady now, man. I actually say hi to her now when she drops off the packages because my job was just the best, man. We went home in March. I've been working from home. It's been wonderful. But lately, I have been getting out. I've been doing. They have this thing now where the graduates, they stand in front of their house and the cars drive by and they honk the horn. So I've been hired to do that. I've done a couple of graduate shoots. I've done some meetup photography stuff, and with the ClickCon thing that I'm involved in, they're going to have some more meetups this summer. What we say socially responsible meetups. First of all,
Right.
I don't care how responsible the next person is gonna be. When I walk out this house, I'm Darth Vader, baby. I got a mask, man. I don't play. Okay. And I say that to everyone else. It's not political. It's just science. If you're going to be around somebody who's coughing and breathing and that those things are coming out, man, wear a mask. Protect yourself.
Well,
I've lost two people.
right. And I was going to say, I think the problem right now is that too many unknowns. That's
Yes.
the problem, because we there's just a lot of unknowns to how, where, when, it's
Yes.
just, it's right now we're in a guessing game.
Yes.
I just seen on the news about babies having the virus now, and
I didn't heard that. I heard that
yeah,
kids were almost immune to this thing.
no, babies got virus. A little baby just passed away from it, and
Oh my
so
goodness.
you now, everything they thought is going out the door as far as this whole thing, and it's you know like you said, it's not political, it's not the
Yeah.
patriotic, it's not
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think let's be honest with you, even scientists, when it comes to science, and I am pretty sure, yes, scientists are going to have the best information, but there's a lot of trials before and errors before it actually gets, let's go back to, they know what to prevent it, but I think this one is not the norm of
Oh, it's not. No, it's
and
not.
obviously it's not.
Shut
And
down the world, man. It didn't just shut us down, it shut down the world.
right,
The
and
world.
these are new boundaries that they have never had before. So now they're going to take the best educated guests. I think that's what it is. So they're going to do this, do that. Wear the mask and stuff. And not to say that the mask is going to prevent it. I think for the aspect of the mask is just for cautionary. That's being responsible and stuff like that. That if you want to prevent it, wear a bubble. That's the
Yes.
truth.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that's who's
Yes.
going to walk around with a personal bubble? I mean,
We don't want to know your personal life.
but
We don't want to know about that. It's a family show, man. What are you doing?
we're going to wear a life-size condom.
A family show, man. Talking about your bubble. Your bubble.
Hold on, no, let me put it.
You're supposed to keep me on track. The other one was clubs.
Yes.
Okay, so when I was not on the air for a couple of years, my survival was in the clubs, the Tropicana with you. You don't even know that was a big deal because that contributed to my survival. Jackpot Productions. There's a club called the Taste Entertainment Center. There's a guy named Teddy Gilmore who hired me and Marcus to work in the club with do you know Vince Adams, the DJ Vince Adams?
Absolutely, I know Vince.
Yeah, incredible. As a matter of fact, Vince Adams gave us our radio name, the Hit Squad. That came from Vince. We came in the club one day and he said, here they are, the Hit Squad. The clubs helped me survive between that transition of no radio and job. So it's so funny, man, because I started out working in clubs, then I got to radio, then I had to come back to the club to survive until I got a job. And I have been with my company in the month of May for the last, I don't like to say these years, but anyway, I'm just gonna say it, last 20 years, man. 20 years, okay? It is the longest I've been anywhere.
Ironically, and because I like putting in scenario what you're talking about with things that happen. After Tropicana, I believe that's when 9/11 happened. Right after 9/11.
Yes.
Right. And that changed the club industry as well.
Yes.
And I use that 9/11 because I use it to synonymous to the COVID aspect of it, because it's changing the club industry. Obviously, it changed, obviously COVID is more impactful because it's changing everything. But I mean, the 9/11 kind of changed the whole way of people doing stuff like that. And obviously because of 9/11, you conformed in different ways. And I think that's where you became probably more so into the club aspect.
Yes.
Because you were now, I guess for clubs, they wanted, okay, let's attract more people because we're kind of in this tunnel of how to do things now. We're not doing it, it's not openly like it used to be before. And I think that's where no, 9/11 changed. You got busier, probably. I
Yes.
mean, that's what happens. So, and I'm hoping that kind of the same effect happens with this COVID aspect of it, because then that means we're going to get busier. And I think that's what's going to happen once things open up. Once
Yeah.
things,
You're going to spend money like crazy. I can't wait to spend my money.
But that's
one
what
other thing, you just made me think about it. Not only
Okay.
did I work in the clubs, but I got hired by this guy named James, like I said, to host concerts at the Country Club Hills Theater. Then he hired me to do the commercials. So for those first several years, when those crowds were going out to the Country Club Hills Theater, the outdoor theater, that was my voice that they were hearing doing the commercials. The Country Club Hills Theater proudly presents live in concert. It's Eric Benet. I mean, that was me. And that happened because James, the guy that was running the club, he liked my voice. He then hired me to do photography. I was truly a Jamaican. I had 3 jobs. I was a voiceover, I was a photographer, and I was the announcer. And what people don't say, when I say announcer, I'm the one that told you about the concessions. I told you about the upcoming things that were, like shows that were coming, artists that would be at the theater. And then I would introduce the host of the concert for the night. And if the hosts weren't there, if they didn't hire anybody that night, then I would be the host. So,
Right.
And this is, remember now, this is after radio. I mean, granted, all the stuff I got when I was doing radio was phenomenal, but I had a life after radio because, like I told you, you got to surround yourself with winners. You got to have winning people, winning team. If you have a loser on your team, you are going to lose a game, which means you're not going to make it to the playoffs and you'll be home. You got to have a winning team. And that goes for a family or anybody. I mean, if they do not want to win, you have got to cut the fat. Now, can they come back later when they want to win? Sure they can. If you're trying to win the championship.
And I'm sure that's what's happening to you right now because of this whole situation with the COVID and you having to change your I don't know, battle attack of the business, doing the.
But everybody's doing that though, man. We have think about it as humans, how creative we have become. Think about how all these companies now are letting people work from home to keep the companies going. Think about people who have created these businesses. I mean, I know people making masks, okay, custom masks with the Louis Vuitton on it and all that stuff. People who have gotten innovative. And think about all the projects that you're doing at home. Man, I'm cutting bushes.
Look at me with this with the show. It became innovative and
yes.
And you see the it's funny because I during the summer times I decided to not do the shows on Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, but I have people always message me, man. Hey, man, we really were looking forward for your show.
Uh-oh, you froze. I'm still alive. You froze. You have froze. I don't even know if I'm broadcasting right now, but I know that you're frozen.
It's
you got
cool.
Bad connection? Your Wi-Fi?
Yeah, sometimes.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I just said right now, internet connection is unstable. I don't know.
You gotta go with that Ethernet cord, that Ethernet cord, rather, man. You gotta go with the cord when you're doing.
I know. Everybody's like, yeah, that's what. Yeah.
See, you froze again. I'm on here by myself. Oh, there you go. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Woo! Hey, question, because we and you are just talking. The people that are listening to your program, do any of them have any questions?
Most of them, they have chimed on when they but no, other than that, they haven't talked. But if you got a question for Dr. Love, please do so. Please,
Yeah, because this is a big deal. You froze again. Are you back? Hello? Matter of fact, question.
I'm here.
When you freeze, am I still alive? I'm just curious.
Still on.
Huh?
You're still on.
I'm still on? Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Welcome back. Oh, man, let me tell you, This is a big deal because I don't know if your lifestyle has changed since you've been home working, but when I get off work, I have to take a nap. So I actually did this interview during the time that I normally take my nap, man. This is my nap time, man. Okay.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay. I get off, I hit that couch, I count me some Z's, I wake up, I do some things, maybe some editing, and then I go back to sleep and I do it all over again the next day.
Well, I appreciate it. But you know what? I actually we're down to we're going on almost 2 hours. So I mean, so there any I'm gonna let you go to sleep.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So is there any things you want to say to is there anything you want to say to the audience, why, you know, the people who are watching or are gonna
Yeah.
run the replay on this?
I want to plug a couple of things. Come check out my Instagram. It's Eyes of Love Photography. The way you spell it though is love is L-U-V. So eyes like your eyeballs, E-Y-E-S of love, L-U-V photography. So you put that circle with the A in it and then Eyes of Love Photography. I've started a YouTube page. I don't know if you can get to it though, because I haven't made it go live, but write it down anyway. So when it goes live, you'll be able to click on it. It's Dr. Love, D-R-L-U-V, N like Nancy, P like Peter, S like Sam. And that stands for no particular subject, because there's no telling what you might see on there when I get done. So it's Dr. Love NPS. That's YouTube. I don't even know how does that go? Does it go YouTube slash, or how do you do that?
I think it's YouTube / Dr.
Yeah,
Love NPS.
yeah,
That's what I
Yeah,
think it is.
and don't judge me. I have a website that needs a lot of work. It's eyesoflovephotography.com. Eyesoflovephotography.com. Don't forget, I'm part of the ClickCon Nation, and the seminar will be back next year at the Parma House. I think if you Google it, because I'm terrible with this, I don't even know why they asked me to be a volunteer, because I'm terrible. But if you Google ClickCon or you go on Facebook, ClickCon, you'll find out information. And us photogs can get together. Now, what do I want to say to people? Man, I love radio. I love the clubs. I love my city. I love traveling, and I love people. And if you can do something nice or something kind for someone, you should do it, because it's going to make you feel better. And we need some healing. It's a lot going on out there. I'm not going to get into it too deep, but it's a lot going on out there. And if you don't have one, I suggested everybody get you one black friend. It will change your life. Get you a black friend.
But I in retrospect of that, I think
Or in brown. I'm sorry. I mean, black or brown friend.
what I think in retrospect, and I think everybody doesn't understand how important music is for these troubled times. Music is a healing to, just like the dancing is a healing. I think all of this is, if you're having a bad day, turn on music and listen to some music, because that's gonna
Yes.
and music is just like, pardon the plug, but Steve so curly.
I was
The
just
music
thinking
is the
that.
key.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that. I was just sitting here thinking that, because you said it 2 or 3 times. I was like, I know Steve is like giggling right now. And then, like Jesse Saunders says, those pretty girls, they'll funk you up. Like Wayne Williams says, there is a place. It's called the warehouse. There was a place. It was a Mendo bi-level. There was a place. The playground. There was a place. How about that for a song? The whole song, that's what he's doing. There was a place. Did you know? There was a place.
Absolutely.
That's what I love
thank you
about
very
house
much.
music, man. Huh?
Yep. I said thank you very much for the interview, because I think everybody's going to be excited to hear your past, and they haven't seen you in a while, so
Hey, dude, I got to thank you for something. First of all, being a great friend. Those years at the Tropicana, just some of the best memories I ever had in my life, and introducing me to Elvis Crespo, Suavemente, Besame.
Yep. Yes, that was a good times. That was a good time.
Good
All
time.
right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Love. Appreciate it. And everybody that's joining us at the Front Door Show, thank you very much. And have a good night, guys.
Power to the people.